Who knew this era was coming to an end? The Nintendo Switch, probably the most successful Nintendo console has ever put out, at least in recent times. After the ginormous disaster that the Wii U was, Nintendo desperately needed a hit. And soon after they realized that the Wii U just wasn't it, they started development on the Nintendo NX, which would later on be named the Nintendo Switch. I still remember when they first revealed the console. I was like, holy shit, this is huge, because it was a Nintendo console that still worked as a portable console while at the same time still being a home console. To me, that was just genius. It was incredible. We also saw a couple of first looks to some games like Super Mario Odyssey. There was around the time where we didn't even know it was even called Super Mario Odyssey. We just knew it was a new Mario game. We also saw shit like Skyrim being played portably on this thing. It was just one of those historic Nintendo moments where everybody saw it and we were all just flabbergasted by this thing. Truly very exciting times. But now that we've had this console for a good couple of years at this point, we are finally entering a new era of Nintendo with the Nintendo Switch 2. And it is very exciting, but I still wanted to go back a little and really analyze the Nintendo Switch as a console, both in the software and also the hardware. Now, no, this is not gonna be any sort of professional review. I'm just gonna be yapping about the stuff that I really love about the console and the stuff that is not so good. Before anything else, I want to first talk about how I got my Switch in the first place. I had to wait on my birthday during the pandemic to get my Nintendo Switch. Imagine waiting that long to get this damn thing, and when you finally get it, you get to experience all these amazing games that you missed out on for so long. It was just one of the most glorious times of my life. I want to first talk about the design of this thing. I like this from the beginning. I remember specifically that I liked this model specifically. Like the neon blue, neon red one is the look that I wanted when this was announced. Because I mean, the full black console, I mean, it's cool, it's fine, but it looked a little bit too bland to me. Like the full, just having the Joy-Cons is the same color as the screen itself just didn't look that appealing to me. But them having like these two colors, I think, was a great option in my opinion. It's not the most powerful console, but honestly, when it comes to Nintendo, I've never really cared that much for power in their consoles. I really just care about, okay, what's the gimmick and what games do you have to offer? That to me is the most important out of any console. I don't care if your graphics look hyper realistic or if they look cartoonish. I don't give a shit about that. What I care is that you give me great experiences on your console, and really, that's the best thing about the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch gives you a lot of great options when it comes to the games. The console's UI is also one of those things that I don't feel strongly about. Like, yes, I do understand that the UI is too bland looking. The fact that it has barely any personality whatsoever is infuriating, and the fact that it has like two themes only, it has like white theme and black theme, is just ridiculous. Like the fact that they couldn't update this thing with more themes, not even like just different colors, but I don't know, maybe put out a theme that's based around Super Mario Odyssey, or one for Breath of the Wild, or one for Tears of the Kingdom, or one for Donkey Kong, or one for Kirby in the Forgotten Land. The fact that they just didn't bother with this at all is infuriating, but in general, the UI is very easy to navigate. Like, it's not complicated whatsoever, and just look at all your stuff. I like that it's easy to manage. It's not one of those UIs like the Xbox UI. That shit is atrocious. I hate that bullshit. The PS5 UI is also kind of annoying, but at least it's not like Xbox annoying. I think that yes, while Nintendo may lack a lot of style with the UI, I think it makes up for it just being like easy to navigate. Now let's talk about these little things, the Joy-Cons, which I understand that a lot of people have complaints about them, mainly the drifting. I've never had any drifting with these, but I'm gonna knock on wood for that because I ain't got no money to be spending more money on more of these. The other complaint that I hear from people is the size, and I understand, like, if you have big ass hands, I understand how this can feel uncomfortable, but I don't know, to me it feels manageable enough to me. Like, I never had any issues using just a single one of these, and they just feel right on my hands. Like, I do enjoy how they feel in my hands. It also helps that it comes with this thing, the Joy-Con grip thing, which kind of makes it like a little controller. That's nice, like a little small Pro controller. I like that. Like, it's, again, it's not perfect by any means. The motion controls on these things are a little bit iffy sometimes, but for the most part, they work and I don't have major issues with them. Now let's talk about Nintendo Switch Online. This is one of those things that when it first was announced for the Switch, people were not liking it. I remember the thing released and it was barren. Like, the thing barely had any real value to it. And the fact that the online play on Nintendo Switch when it first came out wasn't very good, like, at all, it didn't help either. But now that they've introduced so many other games from different consoles, we have NES games, SNES games, Game Boy Advance games, Nintendo 64 games, and now soon with the Switch 2, we're having GameCube games. Goddamn, this thing has a lot of libraries from different Nintendo consoles, and I love that about that. Now, Nintendo Switch Online truly feels like it has value to it. And also, I do feel like the online itself has improved a little bit. It's still a little bit iffy with a couple of games, but for the most part, it does work very nicely. Now, when it came to third-party support, I was pleasantly surprised to see that we actually had some very decent amount of third-party support from other developers. We got The Witcher 3, which didn't look amazing on the Switch, but at least it run pretty well. The Doom games, at least Doom 2016 and Eternal, were really impressive as well. The way that they ran so good on the Switch. Skyrim was definitely iffy, but it was still cool to see a game like Skyrim on a Nintendo console. Now, of course, not everything was sunshines and rainbows when it came to third-party support. Amongst all the Witcher 3s and the Dooms, we also had the Mortal Kombat 1s, which were absolutely abhorrent. But even then, some of those ended up getting better as time went on. Now, I do understand that third-party support definitely slowed down in the later years of the Switch, but it was still impressive to me to see that this console was getting a lot of decent third-party support. To me, that was just really cool. And if you're somebody like me who absolutely loves indie games, I think the Nintendo Switch is the perfect platform for indie titles. Because I'm gonna be honest, sometimes playing indie games on something like an Xbox or a PlayStation, I don't know, just kind of feels awkward. But the fact that I can play a lot of these indie games on this thing and just kind of enjoy them like portably, like, because that's to me the perfect way to enjoy indie games or like even RPGs to a certain extent, is playing them portably. And I feel like the Nintendo Switch works perfectly for those type of games, specifically indie games. I think the Nintendo Switch console for me is the console to go for the best indie experiences. But of course, what is a great Nintendo console without some great first-party games? We're talking about Super Mario Odyssey, which was an incredible 3D Mario game. I have some issues with the game, but overall, it's still an absolutely amazing experience, and it's still one of my favorite games on the console. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, while I definitely want to go back to Tears of the Kingdom more than Breath of the Wild, I still believe that both games are amazing. They are out of this fucking world. To me, these games are like the perfect open world experiences anybody will have. Animal Crossing New Horizons, while definitely is a little bit dry of content now, I still think that it is just a nice, cozy game to just kind of waste some time and just kind of pretend that you're living on an island. And you know what? In the times that we live right now, I think a lot of people would prefer to live in an island. Metroid Dread, a return to form to the 2D Metroids. Oh god, this game is just absolute fucking peak. I love every fiber of this game to its core, dude. I love the exploration, I like the combat, I like the difficulty of the game. I love that even being a modern Nintendo game, which tend to be a little bit on the easier side, I just absolutely love that they did not pull any punches and gave us a true Metroid experience. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, there's so many first-party games that came out for this thing that are truly incredible. Like even when it came to some ports or remasters, like 3D World plus Bowser's Fury being like this great remastered version of the 3D World game from the Wii U, but also like including this other like small game of its own with Bowser's Fury is just one of those things that I'm like still blown away by. Like, it's so cool. And honestly, looking at Bowser's Fury, to me, I look at that and I'm like, this is the future of the next 3D Mario game. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is super fun, especially now with the new Booster Pass courses. I mean, this game is filled with a huge amount of content. Nintendo realized that they were really fucking up with how they handled first-party games on the Wii U, that they knew that they had to come out swinging with this thing with so many great first-party experiences. And honestly, to me, that alone is enough for this console to be considered one of Nintendo's best consoles. But of course, not everything is sunshines and rainbows. There's also a couple of things in this console that are just very annoying and just absolutely infuriating, that I'm like, this is just kind of unacceptable, man. Like, this should not be this way. Aside from the UI being pretty lame and being devoid of any personality whatsoever, the online is also still very inconsistent in some games. I know that's gotten better in the last couple of years, but it's still kind of faulty in some games, specifically Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where sometimes it'll work pretty good, and other times it will be absolutely atrocious. Like, goddamn, it will be so laggy that it makes it absolutely impossible to play. The eShop is also absolutely atrocious. This thing is horrendous. It is slow and laggy to no end. I mean, it takes more than a couple of seconds to load any of the games that you can buy. It is ridiculous. This shit is genuinely fucking unexcusable. It's also really poorly regulated. This thing is filled with so many corn adjacent to video games that it is shocking to me that not a single person at Nintendo has looked at this thing and said, you know what, we might want to do a better job in regulating what games we want to put on this thing. There's also a bunch of AI slop like usual. Because this thing is so unregulated, they can just put any fucking game whatsoever in it. So a lot of the free games, or like games that cost like 3 cents, they have AI generated cover arts, or the games itself are just AI generated bullshit. So it's like, this thing is genuinely horrible. The Nintendo Switch eShop is a fucking mess, and I'm really begging they fix this on Switch too. And while the Nintendo Switch has a great library of a bunch of first-party games, there's also a couple of bad apples here and there. The Mario Sports games were very underwhelming, except for maybe Mario Tennis Aces, which was like the most good out of all these Mario Sports games. All the other Mario Sports games have been incredibly disappointing. Mario Golf, Mario Strikers even, they really fumbled the bag when it came to the Mario Sports titles, and I hope this is something that they fix on the Switch too as well. And while we did have a couple of Wii U games that were truly amazing on the Switch, we also had a few that were just very underwhelming and downright confusing. Like, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is very confusing for many reasons. But first of all, look at this title, man. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe? What is deluxe about this? I mean, anybody that has no context or any idea of the existence of the Wii U is going to be absolutely confused by this title. But also, it's just a piss-ass port of the Wii U game. I don't even like the original Wii U game, but goddammit, at least it worked better than this port. The port is somehow slower than the original game, and it lacks any sort of new content outside of Toadette being a playable character and the introduction of the Peach Head power-up. And now with games like Super Mario Bros. Wonder that really showcases how washed the new Super Mario Bros. Series of games is, how did they think it was a good idea to release this thing? And I know a little bit ago I was praising the hardware of the Nintendo Switch, but in the later years it really starts to show its age. Like, looking at specific games like Pikmin 4 and Tears of the Kingdom, you really start to see how these developers are really pushing the limits of the hardware. Pikmin 4 is absolutely gorgeous, and Tears of the Kingdom is a sandbox of endless possibilities. But then you start to see like some of the issues that these games are having in this platform, like the performance issues, for example, specifically with Tears of the Kingdom. Goddamn, every time you go into the Korok Forest, that thing is insufferable. Like, that thing cannot stop having performance issues. It is genuinely, sometimes it's kind of funny, but for the most part, it's like, goddamn, this is really ruining the immersion. And it's not just these games. Games from past years in the Nintendo Switch have also dealt with some of these issues, which honestly just kind of shows that it was time for Nintendo to move on from the Switch and go on to their next venture. In conclusion, the Nintendo Switch, while it might not be perfect, it definitely has its issues. It is still, in my opinion, one of the best Nintendo consoles that we've had. Now, I know that a lot of people are gonna be saying the Wii U had a lot more personality. Yeah, but the Wii U didn't have any games. At the end of the day, it's like, I don't care about all this extra bullshit or any of these Terra shits or teraflops or whatever. It's like, the only thing I truly care about is, does the thing have games that I care about? Does the thing have actual titles that I want to play? And the Nintendo Switch absolutely delivers on that. It actually over-delivers on that, if you ask me. While it might not be perfect, I still wholeheartedly consider that the Nintendo Switch is one of Nintendo's best consoles ever. And now that we're finally moving on into the era of the Nintendo Switch 2, I am very excited to see what Nintendo has in store for their next generation. Thank you so much for watching. What are your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch as a console? Let me know down in the comments. I really want to know what you guys think about it. And like always, good day, good night, and stay safe.